Good evening to the members of the media, including myself. We would like to welcome all of you to this joint press conference of the 12th APEC Energy Ministers meeting here in Cebu, Philippines on the 13th of October, 2015. I would like to introduce to you the APEC member economies that are present here for the joint press conference. We would like to start off with the Energy Ministers Meeting Chair, Her Excellency Zenaida Y. Monsada from the Department of Energy, the Philippines. His Excellency Josh Frydenberg, MP, Minister of Resources, Energy, and Northern Australia. From Canada, His Excellency Michael Keenan, Associate Deputy Minister of Natural Resources. From Chile, Her Excellency Paula Esteves, Director, International Affairs, Ministry of Energy. From Indonesia, His Excellency Yunus Kusama Barata, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. From Japan, His Excellency Takayuki Ueda, Vice Minister for International Affairs, Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. From Malaysia, the Honorable Datu Dr. Nazri bin Yahaya, Senior Official for Energy. From the Philippines, Loretta G. Aizon, Undersecretary, Department of Energy. From Russia, His Excellency Yuri Sentyurin, State Secretary, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Energy. From Singapore, His Excellency Ng Wai Chong, Chief Executive, you mean Her Excellency Ng Wai Chong, Chief Executive, Energy Market Authority. Okay. From Chinese Taipei, His Excellency Zhong Chin Shen, Vice Minister, Ministry of Economic Affairs. And from the United States of America, Her Excellency Elizabeth Sherwood Randall, Deputy Secretary, Department of Energy. And I would like to hand you over to Director Jesus Tamang from the Department of Energy in the Philippines, who will manage this press conference. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, media friends. I'm Jas Tamang. I'll be your moderator for today's joint ministerial press conference. As the Philippines Department of Energy hosts the 12th APEC Energy Ministers meeting, which started yesterday and will last until tomorrow, we are deeply grateful for the presence of the Honorable Energy Ministers from the 21 member economies, and of course our EMM12 Chair, Department of Energy Secretary Zenaida Monsada. Today's press conference entails announcement on the Cebu Declaration and instructions, which were adopted by the ministers to strengthen efforts and collaboration towards energy-resilient APEC community. At this point, I'd like to hand you over to the EM Chair, the Secretary Monsada, for the statement.
Thank you, Jess. A pleasant evening, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and of course, our friends from media. Thank you for being our constant partners in disseminating the visions that the energy ministers have been thrusting for the Asia-Pacific region. Today, the energy ministers came up with a framework on energy resiliency and instructions to the Energy Working Group to formulate action plans that will concretize the vision of APEC energy ministers. These instructions are set to be implemented by the Energy Working Group, experts groups on energy efficiency and conservation, new and renewable energy technology, clean fossil energy, energy data and analysis, and the Low Carbon Model Town Task Force. To support the collective efforts of the experts group are the two centers of excellence of APEC energy cooperation, such as the Asia-Pacific Energy Research Center and APEC Sustainable Energy Center. The ministers have agreed that climate proofing of energy infrastructures in the APEC community is a significant endeavor towards energy resiliency. Thus, conducting a vulnerability assessment, including regional geohazard maps, exploration of best practices in enhancing the quality of electric power infrastructure, undertaking research and development programs, and of course, sharing information on energy infrastructure technology advancements and technological innovations, among others, are adopted. Recognizing that advancing cutting-edge energy efficiency technologies is a springboard towards energy resiliency, the ministers have adopted the EWG recommendation to undertake a cost-benefit analysis of available energy-efficient technologies, to develop minimum energy performance standards, to explore the potential adoption of fuel quality and vehicle efficiency standards, and to pursue APEC's aspirational goal of attaining the reduction of energy intensity by 45% by 2035 from its 2005 levels. The recommendation also involves equal and gender-fair human resource capacity development. On community-based clean energy use in energy poverty-stricken areas, the ministers have adopted to explore strategies to drive the shift towards green buildings through energy efficiency measures. Likewise, the Energy Working Group recommended coming up with an energy ecotourism development framework, especially that energy is critical to spurring economic activities tourism sector. The promotion of clean energy or renewable energy is also an important program in line with APEC's aspirational goal of doubling the share of renewable by 2030, again from the 2005 level. The ministers have also adopted to improve energy trade and investment in the APEC community, emphasizing energy infrastructure planning and development, and even regional energy interconnectivity, adopting public-private partnership, especially for the nascent LNG industry, securing both energy and water resources as they are critically affecting one another, development of new markets and trading hubs, and increasing investment in green economy through green energy finance. Likewise, the meeting's plenary session featured interesting insights and discussions on the EMM themes provided by resource experts from International Energy Agency, Asian Development Bank, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, and the APEC Business Advisory Council, or ABAC. At the margins, signing of the joint statement on APEC, EWG, and IEA puts into place platform for cooperation on broader areas of cooperations such as energy security, energy resilience, energy efficiency, renewable energy, energy data and statistics, among others. One of the meeting's highlights is the announcement made by Japan in the selection of Mandawi City as the chosen area for the Phase 6 of the Low Carbon Model Town project. This entitles Mandawi City to a feasibility study grant that would determine policy program measures to realize its targets for green technology opportunities, particularly in buildings, urban planning, and transport sector. So may we ask the representative of Mandawi City, James Abadia, the provincial administrator, to stand up to be recognized. Sana. Wala pa ka. As there is great responsibility for all towns in the Philippines to learn from what Mandawi will experience through this feat. As we approach the conclusion of the EMM 12, we extend our deepest gratitude for the participation of the 21 member economies, Your Excellencies, and APEC various committees for institutionalizing our common vision towards an energy-resilient APEC community. Daghang salamat, thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Secretary Munsada. At this point, we also would like to recognize Mr. Luis Antonio Gonzalez Toledo, Senior Advisor, Minister of Energy and Mining of Peru. We also have with us Dr. Alan Bollard, the Executive Director of the APEC Secretariat. We're now opening the floor for questions, and we would like to remind everyone to kindly raise your hand and wait to be recognized before approaching the microphone. And please introduce yourself and the media entity that you are representing. We also would like to request our friends from the media to focus your questions on energy cooperation and programs and activities of APEC. And however, due to time constraint, as the ministers still have a following event to attend to, we will only be able to entertain 3 questions. Related materials with respect to the EMM 12 are now uploaded. They can be accessed through the APEC website at www.apec.org. May we have the first question? The lady in black, please.
Take 2. I'm Rizal Chara from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. My question is related to your statement on inclusive economies, since they entail energy access to even remote areas of archipelagic nations like Indonesia and the Philippines. Could you highlight areas of cooperation between APEC member countries that you discussed or highlighted during your conference, and especially suggestions from the ABAC with regards to this endeavor? Thank you.
Perhaps I can just start off, and there may be some specific things. APEC has got a connectivity blueprint put in place, and part of that is building up infrastructure, some of which is drawing on the different examples around the different APEC economies. Of course, some big, some small, some developed, some developing. And in addition, in the meeting today, there's been quite a bit of discussion about infrastructure, but also about smart technologies and ways we can actually extend electric and, to extend energy issues generally across energy impoverished areas. There may be some examples from particular economies that people might answer on that.
I can say something. I'm from Australia, which is one big island as opposed to an archipelago. But I think this issue of access is one of the most important ones that we discussed today, because there's a real moral case to the export of energy, with more than 1 billion people around the world without access to electricity. That sees suboptimal health, education, and quality of life outcomes. So what we are doing here in terms of enhancing investment in the infrastructure that's needed to produce energy, what we're doing here in terms of sharing best practice as to regulatory frameworks, tax frameworks, other type of frameworks to enhance the building of the necessary energy infrastructure, all goes towards creating greater access for the people who don't have electricity. And I think where we can make a real difference is in both sharing the lessons learnt from our own processes and also and best practice more generally, but with also capacity building. And we all have our own programs that we use to support governance projects, energy projects, health projects in other countries. So I think it's a combination of capacity building, best practice, and trying to invite more investment in the infrastructure that's needed to support the export of energy to those people who need it most.
May we have the second question? Yes, from Bulletin.
I am Mirna Velasco from Manila Bulletin. My question is on regional connectivity of energy facilities, particularly on LNG. And this question could also be addressed both to Canada and the US, because it's a long-term goal to bring that gas, the shale gas, coming from North America to Asia as a key market of that gas. How has been the discussion among APEC countries as to how to ease that access so that finally that gas could be brought to Asia? And what will be the impact of that gas coming to Asia when it comes to the planned gas hubs both in Japan and in Singapore? Thank you.
US would like to respond.
This has not been a principal focus of our discussions today, to be honest. We have focused principally on resilience issues because the Philippine chair of our meeting has wisely put energy resilience on the agenda for us to discuss among ministers, because we are looking at the natural and man-made threats to the energy infrastructure and how we can build more resilient economies across the APEC economies. I will say that, of course, we do export natural gas, and it goes to where the price is highest. It's a market-based system, and lots of our exports come here, and they go elsewhere too, depending on the market. I can't speak for my Canadian colleagues, but I can speak for the United States.
We'll have the third question now, and then probably we'll have, if we have enough time, we'll even add another question. Okay, so who's going to shoot for the third question? The lady in black, please. Yeah. And then.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jindy from Sunstar Cebu. I would just like to, I have two questions, and my first question would be, what were the key points raised during the CEO roundtable yesterday? Because it was not open for media coverage. And second, can you please expound on what are the advantages and the timetable for the Mandaue cities being awarded for the low carbon project? Thank you.
Well, on the CEO discussions, they were also tackling the theme of the energy ministers. And this morning, maybe what I can share was that during the CEO and the ministers' dialogue, among the points raised was one, there should be closer cooperation between the public and the private sector. There are things that the private sector should do, must do, for example, investments, but the government should provide the regulatory framework, the stable policies, like the fuel mix and other policies, taxation, and so on. And so the CEOs expressed their support for the ministers in the undertakings for better cooperation within the region, including those for trade and investments. On the Mandaue award, maybe Yusek Aison can
The award was just recently released. I think the schedule or the timeline for the conduct of the feasibility study and related arrangement is still under discussion. But it's something we need to be able to complete or to report on in the next energy ministers meeting. So maybe 6 months to 1 year is something that we're looking at. Okay. Okay, maybe we have a time for the last question. Yes, please.
I'm Michelle Orosa Ople from TV5. I just like you to expound on the financing part. A lot of the energy climate proofing infrastructure of energy is expensive. So how was the cost addressed in the discussions? Will there be some sort of commitments in financing or these kinds of things?
There were no specific things that were being planned, but we talked about PPPs, so private-public partnerships. We've talked about generally right through APEC this year under Philippines leadership. We've talked about the issues about raising funds for infrastructure, especially energy, and in doing that, a general feeling that it's not just a matter of looking for money, it's a matter of looking for bankable projects. And ABAC, the business arm of APEC, has been doing quite a lot in terms of assisting governments to find ways to package projects to make them more bankable. Again, there may be some specific comments.
As noted by Her Excellency from the US, the discussions focused on energy resiliency. No, so, yeah. Okay, in relation to that, maybe I have to announce at this point that the APEC has proposed, principally the US has proposed the creation of a task force to work on this energy resiliency. And the Philippines has accepted to co-chair with the US for this task force. And eventually it will become a working group depending on the progress. But precisely, we just started with this topic, and we'll have to expound more on this in the task force. But resiliency, maybe...
Australia, please.
I think it was a very useful discussion. See, what you have in the world is you have natural disasters, and in the Philippines, you know that better than nearly anywhere else in the world. And as a result, the energy infrastructure, whether that be the electricity grid, whether that be the hydro facility, whatever, the solar, they can be disrupted. And the people don't get the access to the electricity. So what you need to do is make those frameworks robust. That means testing for disasters. That means sharing best practice among the 21 economies that are present here as to who does it well. And if you can share that information, if you can get better coordination, if you can plan for disasters ahead of them happening, then that can be very, very helpful. And I think that was the theme of the discussions. And of course, you know, having the ministers buy into that outcome produces a blueprint or a framework for action going forward, and those sort of details will be worked out. But not only, I mean, the resilience was a very, very important issue. The access was a very important issue, and also the investment that we need to meet the future energy demand was a very important issue. And you have to understand that energy demand is growing exponentially. It will increase by 1/3 globally between now and 2040, and it will double in our own region between now and 2030 in the Asia Pacific. So unless we're able to attract investment from the private sector, often foreign investment, we won't be able to meet that demand. So that's why, as the Energy Secretary said from the Philippines, we need to share best practice around regulation, around tax, around workplace relations issues, so that we can attract that investment at a time when commodity prices are lower, oil prices and gas prices are lower than they traditionally have been.
Undersecretary Aisan, I think, would like to address the energy resiliency definition.
Yes, we'd like to define energy resiliency as the ability of energy infrastructures and systems to withstand extreme man-made and natural disasters and be able to recover and return to normalcy in an efficient and timely manner and build back better. So we thought of this as a theme for the hosting of the Energy Ministers meeting by the Philippines because of the extreme weather conditions, the man-made and natural disasters that have been experienced by the APEC economies, the Fukushima incident, the typhoon in the Philippines, Typhoon Yolanda, Katrina, and a lot of these disasters that have been going on as a result of the climate change that we have been experiencing because of the greenhouse gas emissions, pollution that are happening in the world today.
Just to emphasize, we have two major documents coming out of the Energy Ministers meeting, the Cebu Declaration and the equivalent instructions given by the Energy Ministers to the Energy Working Group. Then the instructions will provide for the different areas that will need to be addressed by the different experts group and task forces. You will note when you download the copy that it seeks to identify also the different activities that will need to be undertaken to be able to help the 21 member economies of APEC be more energy resilient. Okay. This ends the press conference. We'd like to thank again the media for being with us. The energy ministers will now have to proceed to their next event. Maraming salamat po.